Well, one of the main things is really just gliding the head and neck back, lengthening through the crown of the head, and then basically I'm just trying to just move my feet and nothing else. So I'm trying to maintain my upper body as strict as possible, and I can feel the tension coming from really every angle. So right here I feel it on the front of the neck, here on the side, here on the back. So I'm doing my best just to maintain the positioning. It's definitely working, like here, like, because this band's trying to pull me back here so I can feel my core engaged. Here I can feel my sides, even my hips. So yeah, it's definitely feeling the stability and the maintaining of position, like through every angle. From here, I could feel it trying to break my posture this way, so my whole back's having to engage and keep that rigid spine. So it's definitely working. Feeling when I'm facing here, I can feel the whole front of it, basically the whole front line of the body. So I can feel the deep flex of the neck, I can feel all the front here, all this front line of the body. And then if I'm facing back here, it's basically the exact opposite side. So on this position, I feel the whole back side, all my erectors, all the posterior chain. And then when I'm trying to look left and right, it's like stabilizing that position, and then I start feeling that rotational resistance too. I like this, okay. This may be my favorite one. Just the coordination aspect. Oh my gosh. Definitely. I'm working footwork, like every aspect of my neck, every aspect of my core, my back. Trying to also maintain positioning while moving. It feels like everything's working. Mainly my brain too. I don't know if I definitely know I've never done any training like this for the neck. It's like the neck and the entire body as well. Yeah, I mean, if you think about like just posture in general, when you're looking at postural muscles, you're looking at strength endurance muscles. That's why they call them tonic muscles. So if you have a lot of strength, but you don't have the strength endurance to maintain that positioning throughout the day, there's no way you'll be able to hold good posture. So I would say, like, when you're conditioning posture, you're talking about strength endurance. So you could also have like a great postural exercise, but unless you train it for long enough or you start really developing that, like I said, it's going to be really hard to maintain that position. So I would say strength endurance is, when it comes to posture, it's the most important like quality to build. So for my breath, I'm trying not to hold my breath purposefully, but create just enough pressure in the breath so I can stabilize my core and maintain my positioning. Because if I go purely just fully relaxed in the core, then I'm not going to be able to keep position. So I'm still breathing, but keeping just like a little bit of pressure behind it. I feel like if I lose the breath, then I'm going to become like a wet noodle. One of the first things is I'm a huge fan of how the eyes are a part of the movement. So like what I find is by following the fingers with the eyes, I can get more rotation out of it. So I like this kind of like a guiding post with the hands, and it also helps me kind of like I can see where I stop if I look at my hands and my eyes here, and then I can see where I stop. So I've got a nice guide to reproduce every single rep. But then in terms of how I'm feeling this tremendously, not just in the neck, but a lot in the core. So super isolated, but also very integrated as well, which is always what I'm kind of looking for when training, isolation and integration, which I like. And one of the interesting things is, so the neck training that I had done in the past was with just a classic neck harness up and down. But this aspect was completely missing from the training, which was the ability to train for sure in different angles and these diagonals. So I've never once trained before the iron neck, these angles and these positions. And like, I just feel whether it's in sport or in life, like you're gonna be most vulnerable and weakest in the positions, in the planes, through the angles that you rarely train. And so it's creating a lot more awareness and then a lot more just strength and resiliency in these positions and these angles. So compared to just going up and down, like I'm really liking these kind of cross patterns a lot. Well, I think like when you look at sports, like one of the, I would say the most important thing is like the athlete who's more adaptable is the athlete that's not only going to perform better, but going to be have the least risk of injury. And so if like, when we train the neck, especially like take football, right? They're wearing an implement or a firefighter. They've got a load on their head and then the stimulus is constantly changing. So if they don't train their neck, which has to bear the load, and they don't train in all these positions, all these angles, it's like as soon as they get tackled or as soon as the firefighter has to be in an awkward position, it's like their brain's not gonna really know how to connect that area and be strong in that area. So I would say it's making more adaptable humans and more adaptable athletes. What's interesting is this was a pattern, the figure eight, that I would do and still do as part of my warm-up body weight, because I do really like just the corners it can get into, right? Like so here, and then this is the first time I'm doing it with the iron neck. And usually when I do this body weight, and this is something that we were working on and you had shared, you can start as small of a range as you'd like, right? So oftentimes when I'm doing this, I might start really small and trace a small figure eight like with my nose, and then ultimately getting into this larger range. But I love the corners you can get into. And I'd say like strength is the foundational quality for so many other like athletic abilities and qualities. I'd say they're both super important. I'd say most athletes that I find are lacking, if I were to choose one, which to build first, both are super important. You need a base level of strength, but mobility is like today with like poor posture, poor movement capabilities. Mobility is probably like one of the weakest things that I see. And then really what mobility is to me is building strength and control through a full range. So it has a strength element in it. And I think the more an athlete can be in control of their body, hands down, they're going to be way more resilient.